You are born every second. Understanding Instantaneous Rebirth in Buddhism. Chapter 1. Dying many times a day. Consider this thought carefully for just a moment. What if the way we usually understand life and death is only part of the story? What if, from a very ancient and profound perspective, you don't simply live one life that ends with one death? What if instead, you are in a very real sense, dying and being born again, not just at the end of your physical life, but continuously? Imagine it happening thousands, even tens of thousands of times. Right now, in this very hour, this very minute, this very second. Allow that idea to truly settle. It might feel jarring. It might even sound impossible, or maybe a little strange. Our daily experience tells us we are one continuous person moving through time. We wake up, we go about our day, we go to sleep, and we expect to wake up as the same me tomorrow. Where does this idea of constant dying and being born fit into that? Is this just a play on words? Or is it pointing towards a hidden truth about the fundamental nature of existence itself? A truth we haven't been shown before. Now, it's really important to be clear right away. When we talk about rebirth in the context of dying thousands of times a day, we are not talking about the idea of being reborn into a new life after your physical body dies. That's a different concept, often called conventional rebirth, or patisandhi, in the Buddhist tradition, the continuation of the stream of consciousness that leads to a new existence after death, influenced by past actions and conditions. The rebirth we are exploring here is different. It's about the constant, moment-by-moment transformation happening within this very life, from one instant to the next. It's about the continuous change, the arising and passing away of everything that makes up your experience. It's not a soul moving to a new body. It's the subtle, ceaseless shift of your own being, second by second. This isn't a modern theory or a simple riddle. This is a profound insight that the Buddha shared over 2,500 years ago. He wasn't just a religious figure. He was a deep observer of reality, a philosopher who looked closely at how things truly are. He taught that this constant arising and passing away is happening all the time. This way of seeing things is about understanding what the Buddha called instantaneous rebirth. It's a way of understanding reality that has the potential to completely change how you perceive yourself, how you perceive your life, and even how you relate to the idea of death itself. But how can this be true for you? You feel like a single, stable person, don't you? How can you be dying and being reborn over and over in such a short time? To truly begin to see this surprising truth, this constant, moment-by-moment dying and being born, we need to be willing, just for a little while, to let go of the familiar ideas we hold about life, starting at birth and ending at death. We are about to step into a different way of seeing, a perspective where time feels less like a straight line moving forward, but something much more dynamic, a constant rapid process of things coming into being and then dissolving away, a whirlwind of continuous change. Chapter 2. Who am I? The illusion of a fixed self. You know, we usually walk around with a very strong feeling that we are a single, fixed person. We feel like there's a core me inside that stays the same, no matter what happens outside. It's like we imagine ourselves as a steady captain, always at the wheel of our life. But what if that feeling, that idea of a fixed captain, isn't the full picture? What if the I we think we are is actually more like something that's constantly being put together and taken apart? So, who or what is this I? Think about a photograph of yourself from 10 years ago. Look at that person in the picture. Is that exactly the same you who is listening right now? Your body has changed. The cells that made up your body back then are mostly gone, replaced by new ones. Your thoughts are different. Your feelings about life, about other people, about yourself, they've all likely shifted. So what is the part of you that traveled from that person in the photo to the person here today? Or consider this. Do you remember exactly what you were thinking, feeling, or even doing at this exact moment last week? That moment and the you who experienced it seems to have passed away, doesn't it? A new you arose in the next moment, and the next, leading up to the you of right now. According to the Buddha's teaching, this is pointing to something fundamental. He taught that there isn't a permanent, unchanging soul or a fixed, solid self that stays the same forever. This idea can feel surprising, maybe even a little unsettling at first, because it goes against our usual feeling. He pointed out that what we call I is actually like a temporary collection. It's made up of different parts working together. Your physical body, your feelings, happy, sad, neutral, your perceptions, what you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and how you recognize things, your mental formations, your thoughts, intentions, habits, and your consciousness, your awareness. It's like a car that's built from many different parts: wheels, engine, seats, steering wheel. The car works because all the parts are there and connected. But there isn't one single, unchanging carness that exists independently of the parts. In the same way, the Buddha taught that what we call I is this ever-changing combination of these elements. As the Buddha reminded us, form is not a permanent self. Feeling is not a permanent self. Perception is not a permanent self. Mental formations are not a permanent self. Consciousness is not a permanent self. If the very things that make up what you call you are not permanently you, then what is this you that we feel is so solid and unchanging? This brings up a question people have thought about for a long time, like the old story about the ship of Theseus. Imagine a ship where, over time, every single wooden plank is replaced with a new one. When all the original wood is gone, is it still the same ship? In a similar way, you are constantly changing, part by part, moment by moment. Yet there is still this feeling of continuity, a sense that you are the same person who started listening to this today. Why is that? If there is no fixed self that stays the same, what then is constantly dying and being born in those thousands of moments we talked about earlier? And if the I of this moment is different from the I of the moment before, how can we possibly say that I am being reborn? This is where the wonder of constant change truly becomes clear. Chapter 3. The Wonder of Change, Born and Gone in a Moment. Imagine you're watching a movie. What you see looks like smooth, continuous movement, right? But you know a movie isn't actually one long, flowing picture. It's made up of thousands and thousands of still photographs, shown one after another very quickly. Each photograph is a separate, distinct image. When they flash by fast enough, your mind sees the illusion of continuous motion. According to the Buddha's teachings, your life and everything in it is quite like that movie. A wonderful, constant process of change, happening incredibly fast. He taught about something called momentary arising and passing away. This means that every single thing, every thought you have, every feeling, every single cell in your body, even your awareness itself, exists for only an incredibly short moment. Think of it like a tiny split second. It comes into being, exists for that briefest time, and then it passes away, making room for something new to arise right after it. This is the subtle death and rebirth that is happening ceaselessly, being born and gone in a moment, over and over. The Buddha reminded us that just as a swiftly flowing river carries everything along and never stands still, the mind, or consciousness, is always arising and ceasing, constantly flowing. Like that river, you can dip your hand in the same place, but the water touching your hand is always new water. Let's think about this with some everyday examples. When you feel a strong emotion, like anger, notice what happens. The energy of that anger flares up. It arises. It might stay for a little while, maybe intense, maybe less so, but eventually it starts to fade and then passes away. Right after, a different mental state arises, maybe relief, or perhaps regret, or maybe just a feeling of tiredness. The you, who was completely caught up in that intense anger, has, in a way, died for the you of the next moment to be reborn with a different feeling. Seeing this can be very freeing, because it shows you that you are not permanently that anger. Anger is just a phenomenon that arises and passes within you, like a cloud moving across the sky. Or, think about focusing on something like reading a book. Your mind is focused on the words. That state of focus arises. Then perhaps you hear a sound, and your mind gets distracted. The focused mind dies, and a distracted mind arises. Then you notice you're distracted and bring your attention back to the book. The distracted mind dies, and a new focused mind is reborn. This constant flow and change is a theme we find in other wisdom traditions too. In Taoism, for example, the concept of the Tao itself is often described as the fundamental, ever-moving, ever-changing principle of the universe. It's not a static thing, but a dynamic process, like a river flowing. The ancient Taoist master Lao Tzu spoke about the wisdom of accepting the natural flow and change of life, rather than resisting it. This resonates with the Buddhist understanding that everything is in a state of flux, constantly transforming. So it is true that the you of the next moment is different from the you of the moment before. Each moment is unique. But this rebirth isn't about the same exact thing coming back again. It's about a continuity that happens because things are connected by conditions. Think of lighting one candle flame from another. The second flame isn't the same flame as the first, but it arose directly because of the first flame. There was a transmission of energy, a causal link. In the same way, the collection of things that make up you in this moment passes away, but the conditions created in this moment influence the collection of things that arise to form you in the very next moment. There's a connection, a flow, even though nothing permanent is moving from one second to the next. If we are constantly dying and being reborn in this way, and there's no fixed self that stays the same, what is it that guides this continuous process? What decides the quality or nature of the you that is born in the very next second? Can we actually influence this constant arising and passing away? This is where understanding how our actions have effects becomes important. Chapter 4. Karma Creates. You're the master of your rebirth. So, if we are constantly changing, arising, and passing away in each tiny moment, and there's no fixed self staying the same, what is it that connects one moment to the next? What decides the quality or nature of the you that is born in the very next second? This is where understanding the principle of karma comes in. Karma is not about fate, something fixed and unavoidable. It's about intentional action. It's what you do, what you say, and even what you think with intention. These actions create energy. They plant seeds. And these seeds don't just disappear. They become conditions for what happens next. Think about this in the context of those rapid moments we just discussed. According to the teaching of dependent origination, things arise because of specific conditions. When this exists, that arises. Your intentional actions in one moment, the thoughts you choose to follow, the words you speak, the deeds you do, these are the conditions. They become the causes that influence what arises in your very next rebirth moment. This is how your actions in a previous moment shape the characteristics, the feelings, the tendencies of the you that is born right after. According to the Buddha's teaching, you are the owner of your karma. You are the heir of your karma, born of your karma, related to your karma, and live supported by your karma. Whatever karma you create, whether skillful or unskillful, that you will experience the result of. Apply this to each moment. In this moment, you perform an action, a thought, a word, a deed. In the very next moment, you experience a result or a tendency that arose because of that action. Every moment, you are creating and inheriting the results of your actions, shaping the rebirth of the next instant. We can see this happening all the time in our daily lives. Sometimes, we fall into negative loops. Maybe you wake up feeling a bit down. That negative feeling is a condition from a previous moment. If you latch onto that feeling with a negative thought, that's an intentional action, a seed of karma. That thought might lead you to speak a sharp word to someone nearby. That word is another action, creating more karma. This creates a tense atmosphere, which is a result of your actions and becomes a new condition for the next moment. And you might find yourself feeling even worse, caught in a chain of unpleasant rebirths that you yourself initiated through your actions. But the wonderful part is that as soon as you become aware of this process, you have the power to change the direction. You can choose to stop that chain. Instead of following the negative thought, you can take a deep breath. That breath, taken with awareness, is a different kind of action, a different seed. You can choose to offer a small smile instead of a sharp word. That smile is a skillful action, creating different energy. In that instant, you have died as the person caught in negativity and been reborn as someone who is choosing a different path, a calmer one. Even past difficulties or emotional wounds, which are results of past actions, yours or others, might still present themselves as conditions in the present moment. But every single moment is a fresh opportunity to respond differently. You can choose to be reborn in that moment with a new response, a new perspective, not allowing the results of past karma to completely dictate the you of the present instant. Just to be clear again, the karma we are focusing on here is the intentional action that creates the conditions for your next moment's experience, your immediate rebirth. This is different from the larger stream of karma that is said to influence conventional rebirth across lifetimes. However, these moment-to-moment actions do contribute to that larger stream. But the power we have right now, the power we can directly work with, is the power to shape the quality of this instantaneous rebirth, this moment that is happening right now and the one that will arise next. When you begin to see and understand this principle of how karma works, not just over lifetimes, but right here, right now, moment by moment, you realize you are not simply a victim of circumstance. You hold the key to influencing the quality of each of these continuous rebirths. You have the ability to create better and better versions of yourself, moment by moment, through your actions. So, how do we consciously use this understanding to make every single tick of the clock, every arising moment, into an opportunity for positive change? Chapter 5. Mindful Rebirth. Live fully. Heal now. So, understanding this constant arising and passing away and how our actions shape each moment brings us to a question. How do we live with this truth? How do we use this knowledge to live better right now? This is where practice becomes essential. There are powerful ways to engage with this constant, instantaneous rebirth. One powerful tool is mindfulness, simply paying attention to the present moment without judgment, like seeing the movie frames instead of just the story. Through mindfulness, you begin to witness the arising and passing away within you. Thoughts appear and disappear, emotions shift, the breath flows in and out. Being present allows you to actively participate in your own mindful rebirth in each instant. Try this simple practice. Spend 1 minute feeling your breath. Feel the air come in, then out. Simply watch it, moment by moment. With each breath, you are subtly reborn. Another powerful practice is loving kindness. Cultivating kindness towards yourself and others, even briefly, plants skillful seeds. When you are reborn in the next moment with a loving thought, you create a different inner state, bringing healing energy. Before reacting to a difficult situation, pause for 1 second. In that pause, you can choose to be reborn with understanding or patience instead of judgment. This small shift changes the quality of that moment's rebirth. Understanding this constant arising and passing also helps with letting go. When you see that thoughts, feelings, and the sense of self are not fixed, it becomes easier to release your grip on regrets, worries, and fixed ideas about yourself. The Buddha reminded us that you are not your mistakes of yesterday. That moment's you has passed. You can be reborn differently right now, free from that past burden, if you choose to let go. This understanding of instantaneous rebirth offers a liberating insight. Seeing this moment-to-moment arising and passing doesn't mean conventional rebirth after death isn't taught. That larger cycle exists, driven by ignorance and craving, where actions influence future lives. But this moment-by-moment perspective shows something powerful. Even within that cycle, every single moment here and now is a fresh opportunity. It's a chance to wake up, see clearly, act skillfully, and transform your experience. It offers a path to freedom you can walk right here in this life, moment by moment. Living with this wisdom, seeing constant change, no fixed self, and the power of moment-to-moment actions changes your relationship with death. You realize you've already experienced countless deaths and rebirths every second. What truly matters is the quality of these momentary rebirths, your awareness, intentions, and actions now. This understanding allows you to live more fully. As inspired by the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, we can remember that the past is already gone. The future is not yet here. There is only one moment for you to live, and that is the present moment. Every tick of the clock, every breath, every new thought is an invitation to be reborn, more aware, more loving, more free than the moment before. You hold this power to influence each new instant. Carry this understanding. You don't need an outside miracle. The transformation lies in your ability to be reborn mindfully every second. What kind of rebirth will you choose for your next moment?